But 4over says, what was Stevie's reaction to Vince McMahon name-dropping Stevie in a promo as a potential winner of a world title battle royal on WWE Raw in 2004? You know what this is referring to?
What if Stevie Richards were to win this battle royal? Stevie Richards would
Yes, I absolutely do. I remember it, and I wasn't clued into this. There was some rumblings, like people were joking, like, yeah, like Stevie could even win this battle royal. I think that was from the production meeting that they were kind of cluing me in as a joke or something, or it was just like an inside joke that wasn't such an inside joke. Now, I remember when he did that, and they kind of did the zoom in on me for my reaction when Vince said my name or something. I was kind of confused, but at the same time, it didn't really land, or, you know, the way it was set up. Usually with that, what do you think when somebody says, well, anybody could win a match, even this guy who's an underdog and never wins and never does anything? What is usually the conditioning that you think is going to be the finish or towards the finish of said battle royal or match? That the person that he pointed out that has absolutely no chance, although they have an opportunity, is going to at least be in the final two, the final four, or God forbid, win the match. That's the way I usually, it's kind of like the red herring right in your face. Not in this case. The predictability was there. It was just a way to literally just make fun of me and say that I was worthless. That's the intention that was told, that they thought it would be funny, that point out even this guy could win, even though he has no chance, and he ends up not really having a chance of winning. And there were a couple people in the match who were like, let's just at least keep him into the final four, and then the other three throw him out as a little comedy spot or whatever. But no, it was just what it was, you know, and that was kind of during the point of time where I guess 2004, it was in between the Victoria, Stevie Night Heat stuff, all that stuff towards the end. And then just before ECW was going to make its return and as the WWE ECW. But there was literally no hope at that point. And even after that, it just, the jokes about it kind of continued in the back. And I'm like, you guys understand I'm put in this spot like involuntarily. I'm not choosing to not have my potential or anything, but I didn't sell it when I came back. I was just, how you said my name and everything on TV. Vince said your name. That was a big deal. Like with people at the gym and stuff during the week that, you know, they're going to do something with you because Vince said your name. I'm like, don't hold your breath. But yeah, it didn't make me feel one way or the other, but it was just like death by or, you know, career death by 1,000 paper cuts, little something every week to do whatever. And TNA had started. So like when that happened, I was just still having some conversations with people in TNA here and there, but never brought it up because I wasn't sure if they would even try to get us for contract tampering. If I said, I got to get out of here, can you guarantee me a job? I was speaking to Terry Taylor, I believe, still at the time. I remember him getting released in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm not sure the exact date, but I remember talking to him throughout those last few years and just saying, man, if they release me, I want another opportunity to do this. And it eventually happened in 2009 when I became Dr. Stevie. So yeah, I mean, getting back to the question, what was my reaction? Here we go again. That's pretty much it.
We'll probably play the footage just briefly beforehand, but just to clue people in, this was going to be a battle royal for the World Championship, and then Vince comes out and says, well, this isn't going to be for the World Championship. Triple H, who was the World Champion, I guess, at the time, isn't going to be in this battle royal because anybody could win the battle royal and then become World Champion. And then Vince goes, even Stevie Richards. But the thing is, I thought this was planned because you were right at the front. As soon as Vince says your name, you were right at the front, and you're looking, you know, like that, looking a bit miffed, I guess you would say.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. If I recall them saying this is exactly what's going to happen, I would remember that. And it would be like, oh, cool, I'm getting my name. So, but there was rumblings and that joke was there. So maybe I was just prepared for whatever. But you got to remember, too, that most times with battle royals, the people that mean the most are in the front towards the hard cam or somewhere in the center, and we're kind of in that orbit around them. So if I can recall correctly, of course, I went up right up to the ropes where I was somewhere near there. That could have just been happenstance. I don't think it was walked through with a promo because it's Vince. I mean, obviously he knows how to cut a promo. Other people have to rehearse certain things, but we did rehearse obviously who's going out and when and how it's going to happen. But I don't recall it being a big deal. Obviously, if it was exactly like booked like that and I was given all those clues, I would have had a completely different perspective. I was very apathetic towards it because it's, like I said, it's just another week in my career there at WWE. But at the same time, I think when that happened, all day long with the jokes, I was like, I'm smart enough to know, okay, somebody's going to rib me some way or something's going to happen. They're going to throw me out first. They're all going to gather around me. That's happened in Battle Royals. We did do it. We didn't do it. I was there. Rockin' Rebel back in TWA. They told him he was going to win the Battle Royal. Actually, it was ECW. Let me tell you, it was because Paulie was the booker. It was like the beginning of ECW. This might have been like right after the Shane Douglas throwing the belt down, and Rockin' Rebel, they told him, I was right there when Paulie told him, you're going over for the Battle Royal, hometown hero. I was like, oh my God. I got even being clueless, even more clueless. I was like, they're going to do something to Chuck. I have a feeling. Minute the bell rang, they all ran towards him. And don't think I didn't remember that in this Battle Royal, that they were going to bum rush me and do whatever. But guess what? If you throw me out first, I'm the happiest guy ever because I'm the locker room winner of the Battle Royal. Nothing good happens in Barcelona, Spain after 11 p.m. at a bachelor party, right? Nothing good happens in Battle Royals when it starts emptying and people start bumping. The risk factor goes way up.
It's not unheard of, though, because I still love the story of the Brooklyn Brawler, Steve Lombardi. He won a #1 Contenders Battle Royal in Madison Square Garden. I don't know if it was Pat or whoever else said, wouldn't it be funny if a real dark horse actually won it? And this was in 97. And in between that happening and then the return match where Brooklyn Brawler would be facing the champion, the Montreal Screwjob happened. And because they were thinking so much about Montreal and Brett leaving and everything like that, they forgot that they had to do Shawn Michaels versus Steve Lombardi on that card. And then they had a really good match after the fact. I
was personally excited, if they were going to rib me the other way and think that they're going to put me in a pressure cooker to wrestle Triple H for the World Heavyweight title. I didn't look at the title or any of that stuff. I looked at, I'm going to work one of the best workers here. I'm going to work one of the safest guys. I am going to get a rub off of that. And if I can hang with, just like it used to be, that wasn't really that way at this time. If I can hang with Hunter and prove that I can hold my own and I can have a match and we have some sort of chemistry, usually back then or before then, definitely, that's what matches and storylines were based on. You have this chemistry, let's turn it into a storyline. And I'm not saying with Hunter, but maybe somebody near his level that would also say, I want to work that guy. Because getting back to Shane Douglas, Shane's endorsement in the ECW in the early days when I was just putting guys over, and Shane grabbed the microphone after, and he wanted to work me because I could bump and I oversold, but I was trying to sell for everybody. And he cut that promo, and I mentioned it many times, but that was what got other guys to say, oh, I want to work that guy too. And then Paulie said, okay, well, everybody seems to want to work this guy. Let's see what we can do. That's how stuff really organically grows from there. So I had that in my mind as well. There's always going to be the weaponized hope no matter what. You can't go into the locker room and into this business without fooling yourself and having hope every week.